Dr. Sunukjian, Dr. Don Sunukjian, is the professor of preaching and the chairman of the Department of Christian Ministry and Leadership at Talbot Theological Seminary. For the past 20 years, he's served in that capacity, and alongside of that, he pastors a church. For 14 years, he has served in pastorates in both California, Arizona, and Texas. I first got to know his name and his preaching when he was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I was teaching at what is now called Arizona Christian University, back then called Southwestern College. When I came to the faculty in 1985, Dr. Sunukjian was on the faculty here. He taught in the homiletics department here for 10 years, then went to Westlake Church in Austin, and then ended up in La Mirada, California. He has written both in the area of preaching, and he has 3 volumes of his biblical expositions that have just been released this month. And as I mentioned yesterday, I had the privilege of reviewing those and commend them to you. He has a doctorate from Dallas Seminary in theology. He has a doctorate in communications from UCLA. So as a scholar, as an experienced pastor, as one who has a warm heart for God, we're delighted to have him as our series speaker this week in our Nathan D. Meyer series on biblical exposition. The relevancy of the scriptures to everyday life is one of the hallmarks of DTS, and it's also one of the trademarks of Dr. Don Sunukjian and his ministry. Would you join me in welcoming again Dr. Don Sunukjian to the platform this morning?
Fairbanks, Flight 782, Fairbanks, Gate 12. Delayed 2 hours. I think I blew it. You want a good thing, but maybe you don't get it the right way. I think I blew it big time. I wanted a good thing, and I got it. You're looking at the next president and CEO of Energy Resources International. My grandfather started the company in the 1950s. We were a small oil company drilling in West Texas, headquartered in Dallas, doing okay, competing with the big companies, found our niche within the market. But somewhere in the 80s, my dad kind of saw the future. He convinced my grandfather that we ought to move the company away from oil because the country was going to get less dependent on oil and move us into solar energy, the ability to capture the sun's rays into little small cells that would provide the power to run machines and light homes. And we have become, over the last 30 years, the leading company in solar energy. There isn't a competitor near us in the technology and know-how of how to harness that unlimited source of energy and make it affordable. We're projected over the next decade to become a multi-billion-dollar company. And the amazing thing is, we're still privately owned. We're a family company. And you're looking at the next president and CEO of Energy Resources International. I got a good thing. I wish I didn't do what I had done to get it. It wasn't the money. It wasn't the money that made me maneuver for the presidency of the company. No. I wanted to be the president. I wanted to control the company so that I could protect it. If my older brother got control of the company, he would have killed it. We have the potential not only to change life in America, we have the potential to totally redo life in the third world, to provide aid to underdeveloped companies. We can protect the environment. We can preserve natural resources. Everybody in government and business knows we have unlimited ability to do good for the world community. My brother would never be able to handle that. He doesn't understand the business. He can't sit at a desk and work. He can't plan globally. My brother would kill the company financially. Not just financially, he'd kill the culture of the company. Right now, we're a company committed to Christian principles. Everything about the company is centered on God. Dads, we have a reputation for tremendous integrity. Dad's always up front about his personal witness in any contacts he has with government leaders or international business people. He's on the board of 2 or 3 parachurch organizations. We've contributed millions of dollars yearly to Christian organizations. Dad's an elder in the local church for the last 20 years and a silent, generous giver year after year after year. My brother Eric would kill all that. He doesn't come to church. I don't even think he's a believer. He doesn't have the temperament or the values to handle the company. I wanted to be president so that he wouldn't destroy it. Everything pointed toward it being mine. I don't know why Dad didn't see that. From day one, everything pointed toward me being the president. When we were born, in the hospital, Mom said that we're twins. Eric and I were twins. He's about 2 minutes older than I am. When we were born, he was born first, and he kind of came out and just lay there. I mean, when I came out, I was squirming and moving and reaching, and Mom says the nurses said, that one there, that one's got the brains, that one's got the ability. And then, not just the nurses. A year later, when we were dedicated in church, I saw the video. The pastor's holding both of us. We're twins. He's always been a little bit bigger. One twin is always bigger, so Eric's the bigger twin. Pastor's holding both of us. And it's his prayer. I mean, you listen to it on the video. It's his prayer that gets you. I mean, the pastor doesn't know which one of us was born first, okay? I mean, we look the same to him, okay? And so he starts praying, and he prays for me first. And he prays that I would lead the company for God. That I would be the means by which God's grace came to the world. That God would be honored and would bless in all that I did. Oh, he prays for Eric too, but it's form his character, make him a joy to his parents. I mean, lesser stuff. But the leadership prayer, the leadership prayer, the grace to the world, that was for me. Everything pointed to me. Even Eric began to see it. We grew up. I was the one that had the ideas. I was the one that always had the schemes, the plans. Eric was bigger, he was faster, but I was smarter. Okay? In high school, he partied. I ran student government. We went to Baylor, both of us, on scholarships. His was athletic, mine was academic. Okay? We joined the same fraternity, but we had different roommates just so we get to know some other people. But in our junior year, we were both in the same economics class, and so we were studying one evening for the final. And Eric just wasn't getting it. I looked over at him, and he was reading the same page for the 4th time. It just wasn't coming. And he hadn't written his term paper yet either. 2 days before the final, he hadn't written his term paper. He was going to flunk royally. I watched him read it for the 4th time, and he just went. And so I said something to him I'd been planning to say for a long time. Hey, Eric, why don't you let me run the business? What are you talking about? The business, family company. Why don't you let me be the president of the company? He thought we were having a casual conversation. He said, sure, James, my boy, you can be president. I'll just take the clients golfing. I said, promise me? You're serious, aren't you? Yeah. Let me be the president of the company. Why not? The crowd I'm going with, I may not even be alive 5 years from now. And if I am, last thing I want to do is sit down and look at some computer printouts. Hey, I tell you what, you write my econ paper for me, you can be the president. Swear it? Yeah? I get a paper, you get to be president. Even Eric saw that it was better for me. I don't know why Dad didn't see it. Well, I do know. And Dad's a great guy. He really is. But he's got a blind spot about Eric. And I know why. I mean, Eric's been the athlete, all right? And I admit, he's good. He's good, okay? All city in high school, all conference in college. Played for the Cowboys for 3 years until he blew out his knee. I mean, he helped them win a Super Bowl. There's a picture of him, 2 toes in, into the air, 6 points in the end zone. Dad's got a blow-up of it in the hall behind his desk in the office at home. I mean, Eric was the fair-haired boy. And he and Dad, they've always gotten along really good. I mean, when we were kids, Dad used to take us hunting down. We have some property down in South Texas. He used to take us hunting down there. And after a year or so, I figured out, I don't like to shoot things, okay? I mean, I don't. So I stayed home, but he and Eric, they kept going down every year. They became great pals, great pals. They used to, bring the venison home and cook it up. And Dad just had a blind spot. Well, after Eric blew out his knee, he came and tried to work for the company. By then, I had my MBA, and I was kind of moving around among the different departments, learning all the aspects of the company, human resources, patents, accounting, product development, sale. I mean, I was doing everything, just learning it, Dad tried to plug Eric in too, but Eric was undisciplined. He was restless, Finally, he found some sort of place in sales, He did what he said. He took the clients golfing. He could schmooze with them pretty good. And they always got him to tell stories about playing for the Cowboys. And they used to pose with him, and he'd sign the pictures for their kids. And, for a while, it was doing okay, But after a few years of that, it doesn't take long before you become yesterday's hero, okay? And after a certain point, the clients didn't care because their kids didn't know Eric anymore. And it didn't mean anything to bring home a picture of him. And whenever Eric was doing some sales, he always had to have an account representative with him to explain it to the client and to work out the details of the contract afterwards. And it kind of became pretty apparent, who needs Eric? Okay? He's just not contributing to the company. Well, his drinking started getting worse. Started running with the wrong crowd in Vegas. Mom, Dad, they didn't know anything about his gambling. One time he begged me for some money. If he didn't pay off a debt pretty fast, he was going to be in trouble with some people. The thing that finally got Dad's attention was when Eric came home one weekend from Vegas with a wife. A wife, Jody. Some cocktail waitress he met and married on some weekend. I mean, talk about your bimbos. She probably inspired all the dumb blonde jokes, okay? Oh, a dead bird. Where? We always knew when she was working on the office computers, there was whiteout on the screen. One time she brought a jigsaw puzzle. She was so proud that she had finished it in 3 months because on the box cover it said 2 to 4 years. I shouldn't make fun of her. I mean, she's not as dumb as she looks, really. In fact, she figured out what was happening with Eric, that he was becoming more and more peripheral to the company. And she started getting in his face that he'd better lock himself into a position or he'd find himself out in the cold. And she started getting, playing up to Dad, talking Eric up to him, pretending what good ideas Eric had for the company in the future, and that Dad ought to make him president for the company. Mom was disgusted with Jody. Didn't like the way she dressed. Didn't like what she did with her days. Didn't like her friends. Didn't like that she and Eric didn't come to church. But mostly she didn't like what she was putting in Dad's head. Mom and I used to talk about the company. Mom knew I should be president. But all the power to make that happen lay with Dad. Mom used to get on Dad's case. Ike, you're a fool if you make Eric president of the company. Now, Becky, just back off, okay? I haven't decided yet. I built the company, and I think I can make a good decision as to its future, so back off. They used to argue about it. They used to argue about it so much that finally Dad just stopped talking to her about the company. He just kept his thoughts and his plans to himself. Well, things came to a head 2 days ago. 2 days. For the past year or two, the company basically has been treading water. His eyes have gone bad. Basically, he's legally blind, okay? All he can do is make out dark shapes. Can't really see too much. He's trying to run the company from home. Phones, faxes, emails. Which means he has to get Mom back in to read the faxes to him, So she's back in the loop now on company business again, and she's on his case again. Man, I just wish she'd lay off. He's digging his heels, and all she's doing is making him more stubborn. And when his eyes went bad, Dad started putting on a lot of weight. Okay? He's not mobile, he's not going out, and boom, he's close to 300 pounds now. And that scared Mom. At his weight and at his age, she's just afraid any moment he could have a stroke. And so whenever she leaves his office after helping him with the mail, she always just kind of secretly leaves on the intercom so that she can hear from whatever room in the house she's in, just in case he falls or cries out or something like that. Well, 2 days ago, she told me she heard something on the intercom in her upstairs room that horrified her. It was a conversation Dad was having with Eric. Eric, I've decided at my weight, my age, something could happen. I need to put my company and personal affairs in order, which means I need to set the company secure for the future. Several years ago, I had lawyers draw up the papers of the transition, but I left the names blank because I hadn't made up my mind who I wanted to run the company. But now, Eric, I've made up my mind. I think it's you. I think you have a good way with people. I think you'll be good for the company. You have the name recognition. I think you're going to do that. And I want to sign it. I haven't told your mom, haven't told your brother about it, because we don't need any other witnesses, okay? The way I had the lawyers write it, our 2 signatures are enough to make it binding and irrevocable. It can't be changed once we sign it, okay? I wrote it that way because just in case I get incapacitated, have a stroke, I don't want anybody coming in with power of attorney and undoing what I want. And in fact, when I die, I don't want any legal challenges in court. So when we sign it, it's done. But Eric, before we sign it, I'd like to just have one of those meals that we used to have, venison, grilled corn, coleslaw, some of those hard rolls from Minyards that I like. Listen, Eric, can you go down to South Texas and get some venison and bring it back? And we'll have one of those meals that remembers the past, and then we'll establish the future. Are you game for that? Was he game? Are you kidding? This was his president of the company. He'll never have to worry about a salary. He'll get Jody off his back. I mean, surely there's people in the company who know what's going on. If he doesn't, he'll get some of them to help out. He was all for it. Told Dad what a great idea the memory meal was. Yeah, great idea, Dad. Got in his four-wheeler and took off for South Texas late that afternoon. The next morning, Mom called me at the downtown office. Said she didn't want to talk on the phone. She wanted to meet me for lunch. We met. She told me about that conversation. She said, James, you've got to do something. We've got to stop him. Mom, what can we do? You're not going to change Dad's mind. You've been trying to do it for the last who knows how many years. If he's decided, there's nothing you can do to change it. What can we do? You know. And that's when she told me her plan. James, listen. Your dad is basically blind, okay? He can't tell who's in the room. Now, you come in with the venison. I can get it from Texas barbecue, all right? Texas country barbecue, all right? And I can cook it up the way your dad wanted. You bring that venison in. Try to make your voice sound like Eric's, okay? I mean, people are always confusing the two of you on the phone anyway. Your dad won't know who it is. You tell him you're Eric. Once the papers are signed, there's nothing he can do about it. I couldn't believe she was saying that. I wanted to say to her, you're crazy. That's wrong. But I didn't want to accuse your mother. So I just said, Mom, it won't work. Dad will recognize me. And if he figures out that I'm trying to take advantage of his blindness, not only will I not become president, he'll just disown me entirely. It won't work. That's what I said. But I hope she had an answer. Because I wanted to be president more than anything else, and it was slipping away from me. She had an answer. James, it will work. Your brother didn't take his hunting jacket with him. All right? You put that jacket on. And your dad will feel that jacket. He'll smell Eric inside of it. And it'll work. Besides, we've got to do something, because if we don't, it'll be gone forever. So that night, the day after Eric left, I wheeled a cart into Dad's office at home. Dad, which son is it? It's me, Eric, Dad. I brought the venison and the grilled corn and the coleslaw and the hard rolls from Vineyard. Let's have our meal and we'll sign the papers. He swiveled his chair toward me. His eyes were watery and cloudy. But he looked at me so intently and steadily, I just thought he can see me as clear as I can see him. He suspects. How did you get it so fast, Eric? Did you whistle and the deer came running toward you? Dad, God was in it. I got a kill 7 o'clock this morning. It's a sign that God wants us to eat and sign the papers. Eric, a handshake is too formal for a father and a son. Come give me a hug. He got up out of his chair. I thought, oh God, he suspects. I came. He wrapped himself around me. When you can't see, you depend on other senses, hearing and touch and smell. His hearing said James's voice, but his touch said Eric's jacket, Eric's smell. Come, Eric, let's eat and sign. Oh, God, it's happening. We ate until I couldn't hardly eat anymore. Didn't talk too much, still didn't trust my voice, Occasionally, Dad had some comments about some ideas he had for the company in the future. I just sort of, I had a whole lot of ideas about the company in the future, but I had to pretend I was Eric, so, yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Finally, at the end, he said, James, let's sign it. And he brought the papers out and put them on the desk. I looked at them. They were ironclad and comprehensive. Full ownership of the company would be to the son whose name appears below. He would have absolute control of all international and national operations. He would have complete and final authority in all hiring and firing, including relatives. It was ironclad and irrevocable, binding. There was a place for Dad's signature and a line for the date, and then another place for the son's signature. Dad said, put my hand and pen on the line where I'm supposed to sign, and I did, and he wrote, Ike Abrams. And then where he thought I was going to write Eric, I wrote James Abrams. And I was disgusted with myself. I was disgusted. I was ashamed of my dad's blindness. I was ashamed of my mother's scheming. I was ashamed of my brother's worthlessness. Most of all, I was ashamed of my own part in this sorry affair. I wanted a good thing, but I wasn't getting it the right way. Finally, I was able to get out of there. Went out of the office, saw Mom, threw Eric's jacket on the ground. I was going to go out into my car in the back and get out of there. But just then, Eric drove up into the circle driveway in the front. And Mom picked up his jacket, put it in the closet. She went upstairs to her room. I went down the hall to my old room. I didn't want Eric to know I was there. From my room, I saw him get out of the four-wheeler, and he had plates, aluminum, with covers on top of it. He's got the venison. He said, oh, man, he's going into Dad. I could hear it on the intercom. Dad was dozing after the big meal we just had. So Eric had to kind of, hey, Dad, hey, I'm here. Dad. And Dad, you can hear him on the, what, who's it? Dad, wake up. Who are you? Wait. Dad was trying to figure out, who is this? Who's trying to feed him again? Did I just dream what I just did? Dad, it's me, Eric. We're going to eat. We're going to sign the papers, right? Right, Dad, stop shaking, Dad, stop shaking, Dad. And I could hear the fear in Eric's voice, and I could hear Mom starting to come down the stairs. She was scared that Dad was having a stroke. I was getting ready to call 911. But all of a sudden, Dad's voice became very clear. Who are you? Dad, I'm your son, Eric. We're going to sign the papers. Eric, I've already signed the papers. Look at them and tell me whose name is on them. And I heard Eric. James, you son of... James, I swear to God, I'll kill you for this, James. Eric turned to Dad. Dad, this gives him everything. What is there for me? Dad, something can be done, can't it? Something can be done. Eric, it's unchangeable. Dad, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Eric, you can try a legal challenge, but I don't think it'll work. I think the best thing is you and Jody try to make a life for yourself somewhere else where you don't have to think about it or see it or be faced with it every day. Maybe you can open up a club in Mexico. I don't know what to tell you. About that time, I was able to sneak out, get in my car, and get out of there. It was yesterday. This morning, Mom called me again at the downtown office. She wanted to meet for lunch again. She said at lunch, "James, your brother is going to kill you." I said, "No, Mom, he's just angry. He'll cool down." No, that's what I thought too. But when I saw him come out of your dad's office last night, the veins on his neck were just bulging, and I never saw such hate and fury in his eyes before. I thought, like you said, give him a day, he'll cool down. But James, this morning I got a call from Virginia. You know Virginia. Virginia's Tom's wife, Tom, the company attorney. Well, Tom is Eric's best friend at the company. They were having their workout at the health club this morning. And Eric told Tom what you did yesterday. And Eric said to Tom, according to Virginia, Eric said, "Tom, I want to tell you something. Attorney-client privilege. I'm going to tell you. Can't tell anybody. My dad's going to die pretty soon. And when he does, I'm going to kill my brother. I'm going to make it look like an accident. But I'm telling you so that you'll know I didn't let him get away with what he did." James, I don't know about the legalities of Tom telling Virginia and Virginia calling me, but all I know is this has hit your dad a lot harder than I thought it would. And if he dies and Eric does something to you and they figure out it was Eric that did it to you and they put him away, I've lost all three of you, and I don't want that to happen. Now listen, my brother Leonard operates a crew on the Alaskan pipeline. You go up there and he'll give you a job. If it's ever safe for you to come back, I'll call or I'll email you. But right now, you've got to get out of town. You want a good thing. Everything pointed to me. The nurses, the pastor's prayer, Eric's giving it to me, my abilities and experience with the company. God, you pointed everything toward it becoming mine. Would you have given it to me if I just waited? I think I blew it. You want a good thing. You want a good thing. Marriage. A child. Ministry. A house. Comfortable retirement. You want a good thing. My flight leaves for Fairbanks in an hour. I didn't buy a return ticket.